I don't like to say it too often because I don't believe in doing that, or I knock on wood. I have a lot of wood. Not a lot of wood. This is a real wood. A lot of these things are plastic. This is the real deal. But you know, I don't like saying things like nobody else could do this, nobody else. But I'm the only one that can save this nation because you know they're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way. And I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. I'm the only president that ever lost money while serving in office. If I weren't elected president, you would have had a nuclear war guaranteed. Nobody else could have gotten you $28 billion for your farmers. I would have a peace deal negotiated within 24 hours. You could make a peace deal, you could make a deal. I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily. I'm going to make our country rich again. I am the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. And I am the only one who can do it. I'm the only one that can get the job done. I know exactly what has to be done. I alone can fix it. I am the chosen one.
Over the weekend, Donald Trump and his merry gang of deplorables, liars, cheaters, traitors, and hacks decided to have another get-together, this time in South Dakota, one of the most beautiful and historic parts of the country. And I swear to you, every single one of these gets more deranged, more sickening, and more undemocratic than the last. And because, as we all know, Donald Trump only attracts the
best people,
there was absolutely no shortage of depravity and craziness to bring to you. And let's just say it seemed like a few of Donald Trump's followers were still hitting Margaritaville in memory of Jimmy Buffett.
Hi, what's your name?
Hey, I'm great tonight.
Yeah, that's just not at all what she asked.
I know. You know, some people say it's Trump-tastic. Are you Trump-tastic?
I am Trump-tastic. I am Trump-tastic. I tell you what, the next president of the United States. I'd vote for that guy if he's in prison.
So would I.
Where he's at, I'll vote for that guy.
You and me both. Love your flag. Fly it proudly. All right. Hey, well, hello.
Hello.
Annie Trump. Are you a Trump? Is that
Well, I want to be.
Yeah, well, you know.
Donald, I think.
We could all be cousins somewhere down the line,
All
right?
right. Are we on RSBN?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Nice. I want a farm all, a John Deere, a case, more oil.
Drill, baby, drill. Yes, thank you. Good seeing you. She's excited to be here. Annie Trump.
Yes.
Yep, there you go.
What are your thoughts about the fact that you've never seen, let's be real, the leader of the free world?
I'm very excited and hopeful. It gives me hope and security and just stability.
I like what you said. I mean, it's a very authentic answer because it's authentic in the sense of...
Yeah, authentic in the sense of being authentically stupid, because the last time I checked, stability isn't a word. Now, see if you guys can pick out the moment either the wine kicks in or she realizes because she's on camera, her friends and family now have a chance to see that she's going to a Trump event.
Everybody needs right now.
We all need it. We do.
So why are you being emotional right
We
now?
have a lot of grandkids and a lot going on in schools and the community and the state.
What would be your message? You could step this way a little bit.
To pray and be strong and support and be involved.
Well, I'll just go ahead and pray in Jesus' name for what's going on.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We stand strong.
And when they weren't obviously inebriated and unable to control their emotions in public, they were busy showing their blatant racism and hatreds towards this country. Here's the good, God-fearing Christian woman newscaster from RSBN loving a shirt that says Joe and the Ho have to go. And she makes it very clear she knows exactly who that disgusting shirt is talking about.
I love this shirt. Can we talk about your shirt for a second? I love it.
No, thank you.
I'm not going to say what it says. You can read what it says. So clearly you're not a fan of Kamala.
Not at all.
Oh good, that makes us even then, because I'm not a fan of whatever the hell's taking place on the top, sides, and back of your head. 1984 Oklahoma called. They want their haircut back.
She's done nothing.
So do you think Biden has?
No, not at all, other than destroy the country.
You want to talk? So what do you have to say?
What do I have to say?
It's a real shame that so many veterans like this misinformed gentleman you're about to hear speak have somehow landed on the wrong side of the oath they took. It really just goes to show you how important the protocol is for enemy identification is in the military, because that oath means absolutely nothing if it's directed at the wrong people.
I'll tell you what, after 28 years in the United States Navy, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States from enemies, foreign and domestic. And what the Department of Justice has done right now is atrocious. I remember when I retired, I wasn't unoathed. So that means I still carry that oath, something that I think President Biden has not. And I don't believe he's actually the president of the United States. There was too much fraud. How hard is it for someone to get some form of ID from their state and show up, even if we make election day 2 days long? We have 30 million people in this country that don't belong here, and they have violated everything that I've stood for. And I want to make sure that the people that are responsible for this no longer lead or are allowed to lead.
That's a military veteran of over 25 years that Donald Trump somehow got to believe that not only the election was stolen from him, but that Joe Biden is not actually the president at the moment.
Under the Biden administration, when it came to COVID, for example, and they were mandated that they had to take the vaccine, so many people dropped out of our military.
Yes, they dropped out of the military after having already received roughly 20 shots, vaccines, and boosters they know absolutely nothing about.
If you look at the Pentagon right now, you look at the leadership of the Pentagon, you look at senior officers that are out there either serving in the fleet or ground commanders, they're political appointees. When you get to that level, flag level, it's politics, all right? And these people don't have the same values or the oath that they took to defend this Constitution, or they'd stand up and say, no, sir, I'm going to retire now. I'm not going to take that post because I don't believe that what you're doing is exactly what we're here to do. This is the United States of America. We have given more in blood and money to everybody else around the world, and they still dislike and hate us. I mean, this whole pullout from Afghanistan and leaving Bagram Air Base like it was, people needed to go to jail for that.
Well, then maybe we should arrest the asshole that started this whole thing by capitulating and negotiating with the Taliban and releasing 5,000 of their top leaders without the knowledge or cooperation of the Afghan government, therefore leading to this fucking situation. The fact that we still consider this somehow a botched military mission after the amount of fucking military members and citizens we got out of there and the amount of time that we had, yes, the tragedy of that one fucking instance was very fucking unfortunate, and yes, things probably could have been done to better prevent that, but you gotta understand that a military mission never goes to plan. Nothing ever happens the way you think it's gonna happen. And if you look at the bigger picture, I think we did a fucking hell of a job. Especially since we were set up for failure the moment the pen touched the paper on the Doha Agreement that Trump signed.
I think President Biden in that position right now is elder abuse. The man can't finish a sentence. He's got handlers. There are people that are running Washington, the long-term people that have run Washington forever, that have been there forever. They're running the show. He is not our president. He's a puppet.
President Trump, when he was president 2016 to 2020, as a head coach of the nation, right? If you want to talk football real quick.
Oh, fucking Christ, these fucking people.
Now we've got someone in office named Dark Brandon who kind of taunted people. He put down that coffee mug, saying, Dark Brandon and all that kind of thing. Well, he, as a head coach of this nation, is a million.
Oh my God, good one. Real good one. Knocked it out of the park with that one. How long has that one been sitting in the notes of your iPhone? Holy shit. Here's the other absolute genius with a microphone slanging what she thinks is some serious heat, but she actually calls for the third impeachment of Donald Trump.
Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced articles of impeachment against Joe Biden back in May over the handling of illegal immigrants at our border. She has been trying to round up enough GOP members of Congress to back her. And so she's one of several who say we are not voting for this spending legislation if we can't get the backing for the impeachment of Donald J. Trump.
There's great stuff there from the Fox News Junior channel. I mean, they try to be like Fox News if Fox News smoked meth and said God bless a bunch of times. All right, so we've battled our way through the line, past the crazies, who've now made it inside to the main event. It's supposed to start at 7. It's now 10 past 7, and there's barely anybody there.
I have to show you right now the crowd behind me and to the right, just people just showing up. Every seat in this arena will be filled once President Trump is here.
Oh yeah, real packed house. You guys are giving away tickets and you can still have a full court basketball game on the fucking floor. 10 past the time this event was supposed to start. Even when the rally started, the blatant incompetence of these people was pretty evident. They couldn't even get through the Pledge of Allegiance without fucking that one up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the country which stands.
It's just a complete shit show, clown show, utter incompetence at every turn, no matter where you look, including the most cringeworthy tagline you'll ever hear a newscaster say.
And the more they indict, the more we unite. When they indict President Trump, the more we come together. and say, we are not having this. We are not bowing down. We will not surrender.
Yeah, well, I hate to break it to you, lady, but not only did he surrender to the Taliban, but he's been indicted 4 times, which means he's had to surrender himself all 4 times. Speaking of the orange, cowardly sack of skin, here he is as ex-president of the United States, forgetting the name of Mount Rushmore. Not only does this blubbering buffoon obviously forget the name of Mount Rushmore, but then he goes on to say that Democrats or Marxists are looking to blow it off the face of the mountain? I don't know. You listen to this, you tell me what the hell you get from it.
So 3 years ago, I traveled to South Dakota to deliver a very historic address. It turned out people love that speech. They always say, oh, that was the best one. You know what? I think that beautiful facade. Is there a better place in the world to make a speech, Christy? I don't think so. Even though you do have the lunatics that would like to chop it up and knock it down, that's not happening. I wouldn't want to be them. Come to South Dakota. Let's do a little number in that is an incredible place. I stood before you at this majestic period of time and a majestic monument itself and fiercely defended our great American heroes from the Marxist and communist maniacs who were trying to blast them. They would have blasted that incredible work right off the face of that very beautiful mountain.
I mean, the guy is just an absolute tool. Here he is getting so frustrated at the fact that Joe Biden took the phrase Bidenomics and flipped it and used it as a good thing. This Donald Trump cannot stand. Now I'm loving every minute of it. He even says it was supposed to be used as a negative, but now Joe Biden used it as a positive. It's fucking mwah.
And no damage has been worse than the disaster known as Bidenomics. You know, he was given that term as a negative. And he liked the way it sounded, so he tried to turn it because they're all about disinformation and misinformation. And so he tried to turn Bidenomics into a good thing. It's not a good thing. It's a real bad thing. It was meant very bad, but he liked the sound of the name. You know, he doesn't know too much about what's going on anymore.
Now, as we all know, there's a point in these rallies where they go from silly and stupid to downright dangerous and deranged. And this one was no different. Here's Donald Trump trying to sink it in his disciples' heads that if they are to lose the 2024 election, there must have been some foul play. Now, you can call me crazy, you can call me hyperbolic if you want, but this is starting to come eerily similar to the World War I German stab in the back myth, which was the belief that the German army did not lose the First World War on the battlefield, but instead were betrayed by communists, socialists, and Jews on the home front. Sound familiar? Now, that myth was only able to come to life because at the time the German High Command was lying to its citizens about how poorly they were doing at the war. So when it came time for Germany to surrender, its citizens were confused and up in arms, thinking there must have been some foul play at hand. Similar to the way Donald Trump is lying to his fans about the 2020 election being stolen in any way.
And we have to be so careful. We have to make sure that they don't cheat because they are cheaters. And that's the biggest fear that we all have. It's the biggest fear. Biggest fear that everybody has.
This crusty orange bigot isn't even living on the same planet at this point. I mean, the shit this guy thinks he can get away with. Here he is saying the quiet part out loud, just telling everybody if he were to get back into office, he would absolutely retaliate against his opponents.
But remember, it's a Democrat charging his opponent. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That means that if I win and somebody wants to run against me, I call my attorney general. I say, listen, indict him. Well, he hasn't done anything wrong that we know of. I don't know. Indict him on income tax evasion. You'll figure it out. And it does. It allows me to now, because this is unthinkable, I'm president and I call my attorney general. Indict my opponent. He's doing well. If you're the president, you're the chief law enforcement officer of the country.
Well, A, that has to be the most dangerous and disqualifying shit any presidential candidate in history has ever said, and B, no, the president isn't the top law enforcement officer. That would be the attorney general, you moron. Honestly, if you heard what that asshole just said, and you still want to vote for him, I can't help you. There's absolutely nothing I can do for you, because you want a dictator, and that's just it. Donald Trump also briefly mentioned to the crowd about his trip to the Iowa State game the next day, in which I don't think he quite got the reception he was expecting. Now, granted, this is Iowa, so the overwhelming majority of these people love him, but to see that there are people that dislike this guy in that area is a good sign.
I say your state, Iowa. I'm going to Iowa tomorrow.
And as you can see from this two-finger salute you're looking at, not everybody welcomed Donald Trump with open arms. But not to worry, the birds were flying everywhere. Here's Ron DeSantis getting one. He only got the one-finger salute. And here's Vivek Ramaswamy getting the same bird. Like I said, it's good to see that some people in this area know that these people are fools, liars, and crooks. But we need more people to realize how ridiculous these people are, how dangerous they are, and how much we need to fight them in order to save our democracy. And as always, the best way to do that is to stay right here at the MeidasTouch Network. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this to your people, leave a comment, tell them Boston Brian sent you. You can also go to MeidasTouch.com. That's got everything politically related, everything MeidasTouch related. You can also check out the MeidasTouch Patreon at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You can also check out my new Patreon, patreon.com/Boston Brian. I would really appreciate it if you guys get over there and at least check that out. What we need to do is keep fighting these fascists, keep calling these people out, and keep fighting to save our democracy. Until the next time, I'm Boston Brian. Keep kicking ass.